My name is Janet Ahrberg, and today is October 15th, 2007, and I'm visiting with Tomisene Ingram here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. This interview is for the O State Story project of the Oklahoma Oral History Research Program. And Tomisene, welcome to the campus for the Women of Willard Wow reunion. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Can you tell me a little bit about your early life, where you grew up, your family, and your school that you attended?
I grew up in Fay, Oklahoma, actually in the country. My father was a farmer and my mother was a housewife. I attended Fay School. When I was about 13, my father died, and when I was in college, my freshman year, for just about 2 months, my mother died.
Oh.
So, but she supported me those years, and I wanted to go to college. And in fact, you didn't go to college unless you had a family of, means or something, and I wanted to go anyway. My family never had much, so I wanted to go anyway. And my sister tried to keep me from it, but my mother said, we'll find a way. And I was in 4-H, and my extension agent found me a job on campus. I was working in the research lab, home economics research lab, on a foods project that a woman, I can't remember her name now, was writing, and so I worked there my freshman year.
Wonderful. Was there a reason why you attended OSU?
I always wanted to go to OSU because I was in 4-H, and every year, you came up to 4-H Roundup. I loved it. I loved the campus. I loved everything about it.
Okay. What is it about the campus itself? Was it the physical beauty of the campus, you said, or was it the people you met that, gave you an impression of, a favorable impression?
The people were really friendly. I just loved the closeness of everyone. We stayed in the dorms, so I just loved it all. And it was a beautiful campus.
What years did you live in Willard Hall?
I lived in Willard Hall in 1956 and 1957.
Okay, so you're a freshman and sophomore.
I only went 3 years because in those days you could get as many hours as you could for one price. It was $169 for tuition per semester. You take as many hours as you wanted. So I went in 3 years and 2 summers.
Wow, that's impressive. Were you assigned to Willard Hall, or did you specifically request Willard?
I didn't. I just happened to get Willard Hall, and I happened to get another freshman who was also in 4-H, and she was from southeast Oklahoma, and we just met up, and our freshman year we were together.
So you were on that second floor?
No, I was on the third floor.
The third floor, okay.
But my my counselor, we had a counselor, she was from the second floor, and so people went up and went down.
What was your first impressions of Willard Hall when you first arrived there?
Had steam heat. I was not used to any heat. When I grew up, you didn't have heat in your bedrooms, and you didn't have air conditioning or anything like that. So we had steam heat. I had a warm bed for the first time in my life. I loved it.
Well, did it get, with that said, did it sometimes get a little hot?
It did. You just open the window.
Okay. What was your room like? Was it? Can you describe the surroundings in your room?
Well, there were 2 beds and 2 desks and a place to keep a chest to keep your clothes and a sink. And that was it. You went down the hall to the bathroom. You went down the hall to take a bath. Okay. And the washer and dryer was in the basement, so if you had a quarter, you washed your clothes down there, and if you didn't, which I usually didn't, I washed them in that sink.
Okay. What was it like trying to have a personal conversation on that floor phone? Do you remember the floor phone?
Well, I was out in the hall.
Right.
Right.
Did you use it?
I used it a lot.
You did?
And I met my husband my freshman year, and he called me a lot.
Okay.
Yeah. I came to school engaged.
Okay.
But the boy that I was engaged to did not want me to go to college. He wanted me to come home and get married. And I wanted to go to college. And so at Christmas time, my freshman year, I broke that off, and then I started dating my husband. He coached my basketball team. I played sports.
Intramural sports?
And college sports.
Oh, you did?
I played on the women's basketball team, the women's hockey team, and the women's softball team. And we traveled.
This
Yes.
is wonderful. Oh my
Yes.
gosh, you'll have to tell us about that. Who were your coaches?
Oh, Miss Lindsay was one of them. I know that. I remember Miss Lindsay. Miss Colvin was one of them.
Valerie Colvin. Okay.
I remember those two.
Wow, that is interesting. So, how did you juggle your school and your playing sports? You were
And working.
and working.
Very carefully. Very carefully.
Wow, that's impressive. Which sport did you prefer the most? Which one did you like the most?
All of them.
All of them.
Except in basketball, you had to play the rules, and the rules were you couldn't dribble more than 2 times. I hated that. And of course, it wasn't good.
You're not the only one to say that today. It's funny how that has come out.
Yeah.
Did they recruit you? Did you come up on campus and they said, and they had tryouts and you just went over and tried out?
I did.
Okay. Now this was not a club team. This was
The traveling team.
Traveling team.
We didn't travel much, but I have an OSU. I have an O.
Oh,
That was the year that I was a freshman. Was the year it went from A&M to OSU.
Okay. So you became the Big 8 conference too.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, what's it like to travel? How did you all travel? By bus or did you take
No,
cars?
we traveled in cars.
In cars.
We were never in those days important like the men were.
Okay.
Matter of fact, as a freshman, you had to be in by 8 o'clock, and you had to wear dresses. And so that spring, they came out with, they called them pedal pushers or Slim Jims or something, but you could wear those in your leisure time if you wore socks up to
To the top of the pants.
top of the pants.
Oh my
Yes,
gosh.
yes.
Okay. Well, what was Willard considered to be was Willard considered to be a popular or prestigious hall at this time when you were there?
I think maybe Stout was supposed to be it was the newest, and I think maybe cost a little bit more, but Willard Hall was right by the pond, and then we went to Vespers at Wesley Foundation
Yes.
most nights, so we just trotted across there. And,
Yeah.
yeah.
In your mind, what set Willard apart from other women's halls in the late 1950s?
I thought we were friendlier, and I thought we were closer. I thought we were. And I did work in that dorm cafeteria a little bit my second semester because you could just go down and work and then go to class. I needed a little bit more money.
Okay. I'm going to see if any of these traditions ring a bell with you, as
Okay.
far as if you remember any of these. What was Willard's Beach, and do you know where that took place?
Don't know.
Okay. What about some of the Christmas traditions there at Willard? Do you remember setting
We had
up a tree or singing Christmas carols around a piano? Or?
I don't remember the carols. I remember the tree. Remember when you worked and I went home until my mother died in October, last of October. So, I wasn't able to do all those things.
Okay.
I remember we had a snowball. I remember that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know if it's in January or when.
Did Willard participate in homecoming events or contests?
Yes, and I always worked on the float and
Oh, really?
did those things.
Did they do it by themselves, or did they join in with another?
Men's. We
Men's
usually
dorm?
joined in with a men's dorm.
Did a lot of women participate in it, or was it just usually a few that would do this?
I think a lot of us did.
Okay.
I think a lot of us did.
Do you know what happened when a woman in Willard became engaged? Did they have a tradition of singing or serenading them, or
Don't know.
don't remember that?
Don't know.
I'm going through this very quickly.
Yes, that's okay.
I hope that's okay. Do you remember anything about adult the dorm scrapbooks?
I do remember those.
Do you know who was responsible for putting those together?
You know, it seems to me like that we elected officers, and we elected an officer to do that.
Okay. Were you ever an officer in Willard?
I was an officer on the floor,
Okay.
and I was a monitor. Another job I had was I went to make sure the women were in, and I had the first floor and the fourth floor.
What was the penalty if somebody was late coming in?
Well, you wrote it down, and then of course the head,
Would take
our
care
head,
of it.
our head woman, our mother, she took care of it.
Can you tell us a little bit about the dorm mom?
She was so good. She was just wonderful. I just loved her.
What was her name?
Oh gosh, I don't know, but I can see her. I can see her face, and I can see her. She's a little bit round, a little bit short, and And she was so good. You just walk in, sit down, and talk to her.
Okay.
Just loved her.
Do you remember anything about that 1955 panty raid?
No, I didn't get there till 56.
Okay. But did you ever hear anything
I
about
heard
it?
about the panty raid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I heard about it.
What were the resident hall hours when you were on campus?
As a freshman year, you had to be in at 8. And then if you made your grades, then you could be out till 10.
Okay. Can you tell us about, okay, you lived on the 3rd floor.
Uh-huh.
What was that like? Did you have any special events? You know, you said did you come in from work or whatever and go to somebody's room to hang out?
Yes, we did, yes.
What was that like? Did you play cards?
We sometimes played cards. I remember one time they put free cigarettes in our mailboxes, so we all got our cigarettes and we smoked those as long as we could stand it, and then we threw them all out. I remember that. Sometimes we went to Jenny's room. That was our counselor. Sometimes we went to another room.
Okay. Did you do anything special around the holidays or anything to decorate your doors? Or
We had door decoration contests.
You did. Okay. What were some of? Is there one particular memory about Willard that really stands out in your mind that when you think back that always comes to mind about Willard?
Well, I loved Willard. I just loved it. But I have to tell you that I guess I talked about it a lot because my youngest daughter ended up in Willard.
Neat.
She wanted to live in Willard.
Okay. I assume it's just before they turned it into their administrative building.
Yes. Right before.
Right before. Was there any tough times for you in your Willard experience?
Absolutely, there was. It was difficult to do the things you had to get your schoolwork done, and then they needed for you to work on this, and then we played intramural sports by floor, and so I played on, sometimes it was 2 floors together, sometimes it was one. I was talking to Harriet. Harriet and I played together, but I always played co-ed sports. And I also played the college sports. So.
Did you have uniforms, or what did you play in?
We just played in. I really kind of think we might have been able to wear shorts. I don't remember that. No, the college we had suits.
Okay, because I don't remember they didn't probably give you T-shirts like they do now, did they?
I could afford it anyway,
yeah,
so
probably not. Okay.
I was on a very strict budget. I remember one time. It was in the summer, and I was typing for people. That was when Langston University, people were allowed to come over to OSU. And so the women who came from Langston were usually teachers, and they didn't do well typing and getting their papers ready. And I had a very good English teacher in high school, and so I did those papers for those women. And so if they paid me early, I had money to eat. If they didn't, I didn't. I was on, my father was a World War I veteran, and so they gave me $29 a month. And so that bought one meal ticket.
Wow.
One meal ticket. And sometimes ran out.
Was there a diversity in Willard? Do you remember any ethnic or international students being part of it?
Yes, they were down on the 1st floor, and they were my people. I checked them in. Of course, they were always there, so that wasn't a problem, but yes. And then I also took up cleaning for a little bit of salary, and so they usually had their long saris, they had those cleaned.
Well, can you kind of describe their experience there, or how you felt like did they have a good experience in Willard?
They seemed to. They were all on 1st floor east, and so I think, most of them were on 1st floor.
How were they treated by the other women in the dorm?
They sort of stayed apart, but we all talked.
Mm-hmm.
We were a friendly campus.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I had a boy come over from OU to date me, and he said, "Man, this is a friendly place over here." I tried to talk to them. Their language was limited.
Yes. Okay.
But they were from Pakistan. I'll never forget that. They were from Pakistan.
Wow, that's incredible that time of year with that,
Uh-huh.
or that in that time period. Why do you think that the women of Willard have stayed so close through the years and continue to have reunions even 50 years later?
Well, almost everybody was a leader of sorts. We were all leaders. And usually one of them was a president of the dorm. Now some of them moved over to the house. I know Virginia did, and they were still leaders, and they just enjoyed each other. So none of us drank, none of us smoked, and we went to Vespers together, and we just loved each other.
Just a comment.
And they sort of included me, and Willie, though we were three.
Have you participated in many of the reunions they've had?
Almost all of them.
Oh, that's wonderful. Where at? Where have you traveled with them?
Well, we were in Virginia's house in Colorado. We were in Sequoia at that park there, and I can't tell you where we've been. I think we've been to 5 of them.
Okay. Where have you? Let me ask you this: since you graduated, and what was your major again?
I majored in vocational home economics.
Okay. And you graduated in what year?
I took actually 1960, because I took a correspondence course to complete my studies. And I took it in the fall of 59. And in those days, remember, your semesters went into January.
Okay. Can you share some highlights of your life after leaving OSU, and where are you living now?
Well, my husband was an ag major, and he looked for jobs in range and soil conservation, and our first job was in Nebraska. And so we just piled our few little things in a trailer and went to Nebraska. We've been in Nebraska, we've been in South Dakota, we've been in San Carlos, Arizona, and then we finally, when our kids got old enough to date, we did come back to Carnegie, Oklahoma.
Okay. And you say one of your daughters, or your daughter went to OSU?
I have 2 daughters. They both graduated from OSU.
Okay.
I have one son who graduated from OSU, and one who started here and graduated from School of Arts in Chickasha.
Oh, well, that's still wonderful. Okay. Can you tell us, do you remember any particular classes or professors that influenced in your life here at OSU?
I'll never forget Miss McAllister. Home economics majors had to be in the home management house. And so because I had upped a grade and I was with these ladies their last year, I was in the home management house with Virginia, I think it's here, and several of them. And Miss McAllister was the person who stayed in the house, and because I was married, I got to ride my bike back and forth, and I didn't have to spend the night. And she taught me more about life and at least about cooking and nutrition than anybody I knew. I'll never forget that. We had to do high budget, medium budget, and low budget if we were the manager, and then we were either the cook, the housekeeper, or the...
Wow.
Yeah, she taught me more. I'll never forget Miss McAllister. Never forget her.
Are there any popular student hangouts that you were...
Student union. And I did not know how to dance or swim when I went to campus.
Okay.
And we had to take swimming, and I learned to swim. And I took ballroom dancing, learned to dance, and we went up to the 4th floor of the student union sometimes after Vespers and danced with the foreign students because they knew how to dance. I love that.
Oh, that is so interesting.
I love that.
The foreign students, huh?
Yeah. And also, the Wesley Foundation, I spent a lot of time with the Wesley Foundation.
Are we going the right direction?
I loved it.
Well, what about the library? Did you go to the library?
I went to the library a lot until I got scared. Of course, I had to do all my library work at night. Mm-hmm. And one night I was coming home and I got scared and I ran all the way home to Willard and I didn't go at night anymore.
Oh, really?
I was scared. Someone was following
you, and that scared you. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, it did scare me.
Do you know what president was on campus at the time that you were there? Was it Willem or Bennett?
Probably Bennett.
Okay. Do you remember anything about him that stood out? Don't remember that part. Okay.
No.
Well, I've gone through these questions so fast.
Home ec majors. I was always active in the home ec school, mm-hmm. and that was the main part was on west, and then the foods was on east. And I was active in that. I didn't have much time to do, but I was active in that. I was an officer, and I loved that.
Okay. Well, I don't know if you're getting ready to leave or not. I don't want you to miss your group. I could ask you
My
some more.
husband will wait on me a little bit. Okay.
was your favorite memories of your student experience? Was it working? Was it playing sports? Was it just the classes? What really stands out in your mind is, when you think back?
Being free.
Being free?
Being free. First time in my life, I made my own decisions.
Okay.
Do what I wanted. I love that.
Okay.
And I had a lot of friends. I love the camaraderie of the people who were in school. It's different than kids who don't really care about being a good student. I like being a good student. Okay. I also love the Wesley Foundation. I just love that. It was a good place to be. I just love that.
Okay. Is there anything that you want to share with us about your OSU experience that we haven't covered?
I remember going to the ball games. You got free tickets if you're a student. I remember if I could, I went to the ball games.
Did you like the men's sports? Did you go to basketball? Everybody mentions the basketball games.
Oh, I went to football. I love football.
Okay.
Hadn't been around football. Love football. Love basketball. Love wrestling.
Were you able to travel to any of the out-of-town games when they played out of town?
Had no way to do that. Did not.
On your sports, I'm just so interested in your sports. Where did you practice at? Where, did they practice?
In the big gym.
In the big gym.
Yeah.
Okay.
There was another, I can't remember, there was another place, but I just can't remember where that was, but in the big gym.
Wow. And how often did you travel out of Stillwater?
I remember going to North Texas State one time. I remember that. And also we had individual sports, and I was volleyball. Ping pong. And I could really play ping pong because we did it in high school at noon hour.
Wow.
So I remember going to Norman.
Okay.
And playing and entering, representing OSU.
Do you remember a big game that you all won that left a big impression on you?
We beat North Texas State in women's basketball.
Okay.
It didn't in volley. It didn't in field hockey, but we did. We did in basketball.
Well, was there a lot of women that went out for sports? You're the first one I've heard that mentioned it.
No. And I love sports, and I could have really majored in that. And I'm going to be honest with you. Most of them were like jocks.
Yeah.
And today we would probably call them maybe more oriented toward men type sports.
Yeah.
And none of the teachers were married except one. The swimming teacher was married.
Okay.
And I thought, no, I'm not. I don't fit in here. And I needed to find a safe place if I got married, because I had no parents. So I needed to find a safe thing that I could do, and I loved teaching home economics, and I did for quite a while.
Yeah. Did you marry in college? Did you marry your husband here at OSU?
I married him the end of my sophomore year, and we came back our last year and lived in an apartment right off campus, and I had a ball.
Well, did you stay, because you got married, did you stay close? How did you keep up with your friendship with the women at Willard?
I saw them often, and I went to visit them, and of course I was in classes with them, remember, because I was a senior.
Yeah. And
they were seniors too. Most of these people are seniors, so Harriet and I are the one down, but then I was in the home management house with Virginia.
Okay. Well, since you've graduated, and you said you lived in other places, but now you're back in Harneke. Do you come back to OSU at all for any homecoming events?
When our kids were on campus, came every football game. We had season football tickets. Came every football game. Brought food up to them. We ate in the dorm wherever they were, and came with the football game together.
That's great.
There were students, but they usually came around and sat with us. How you can squeeze in.
Well, I can't think of anything else, and I know you need to go, so I just want to thank you again for sharing your stories with us. It's been a pleasure to meet you, and I hope you have a great reunion with these lovely ladies that I've met.
We know we will.